So if somebody said, hey, they wanted to get to $1 million, they did, and then it was like, all right, well, so now what?
Yeah.
And you'd listen, and there'd be like a long pause, nobody'd say anything, and then suddenly all these dreams would start coming up. And so what I recognize is that I think people aren't necessarily motivated by a number. They might be, but really when they get there, it's the pursuit of dreams is what they want to do.
To grab coffee with me, I have a special guest from Chicago who's actually in Florida right now, Court McCulley. He's the founder, the visionary, the principal of McCulley Financial, founder of Dream Number, which is an online platform to help people save for their dreams, co-founder, and I'm very familiar with this, of Champions for Cures as a nonprofit whose mission is to create awareness and raise money for the fight against cancer. And we partner with Court many times for his golf training, providing an experience, for that nonprofit. And you're an author of Your Big Future, a book about learning how to dream again. And we're going to dive into all of those things that you get involved in. But I first want to just thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me. I'm at Starbucks today. I'm in Kingsland, Georgia, right on that Georgia-Florida line. And where are you now? In Sarasota?
Yeah, I'm in Sarasota, Lakewood Ranch. So just south of Tampa, maybe 40, 50, 55 minutes roughly. So obviously we're not too far from each other typically, right?
Yeah,
so,
typically. We gotta play golf. I saw that swing. That swing looked pretty good a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it still needs some work, like there's gets a little long, little late back there, but it's always good to get out. We're moving into that time of the year down here in Florida, as you know, where it's going to be ideal. So
exactly. So before we get started, let's talk about the important things, right? So what is your go-to coffee order?
Yeah, my go-to coffee order. So I make it at home, right? So, but if I'm at Starbucks, I'm going to do like 4 shots of espresso on ice.
My God.
Or like an iced coffee.
Yeah.
Limit 2, right? You can't have more than 2 of those in a day. Otherwise, there's a pretty good chance you're going to like blow somebody up.
Yeah.
But I got even a little Champions for Cures going here for you, which is nice. So yeah, but at home, I just make it same way, just full of ice. I've always been more of a cold coffee drinker in recent years. Just because like when I was studying that, like those early years, like making it happen, I felt like I was like, man, 1 coffee wasn't enough, 2. And then by the time you got to the second one, it was like getting warm outside. I needed something else. Here comes iced coffee. I've never turned back since. So how about you? What's your go-to?
My go-to, I've been on a cortado kick recently, but I've had too much coffee already today. We're filming this in the afternoon. So I got my pink drink, and they gave it to me nice. in a glass at Starbucks. So that's pretty cool. What is your favorite coffee memory or coffee shop? There's some great ones in Chicago.
Oh, there's some great ones in Chicago. So my favorite memory is actually in the Western Burbs. There was a couple that I used to like when I was growing up and like, I was getting into the industry and getting into the financial space. I was doing tons of studying. And so it always like, do you remember those Caribou coffees when they came out? They used to have the fireplaces. So all I can remember is like these cold winters and just like going in there and posting up and getting, like kind of you're up and around the fireplace. I just love that setting. I know it was probably in like a strip mall. It wasn't in the mountains. It wasn't any of that kind of stuff. But I just loved that Caribou coffee when it came out and had like the whole fireplace. You can hardly find them around anymore. I'm not sure they even hardly exist in the Chicagoland area.
I can't remember the last one I saw, but it's been a while. So you mentioned, getting into finance. Why finance? Yeah. Why finance?
So my story was I was working to be a golf pro, right? So I love the game of golf much in the way that you do. I wanted to like be an aspiring pro and teaching people. And so I had found that I love to work with people in a one-on-one environment and help them with golf. Well, finance was a very like close parallel to that because I could help them with something that was important to them. Obviously people have passion for the game of golf, but they also have like a want to be good at finances and like get clear on their life and have success with creating financial freedom. And so I basically took the way that I was giving golf lessons. So I was working at Key Island Golf Resort out in just outside of Charleston, South Carolina. And then I pivoted from there into finance because I wanted to serve in that way, the same way that I was in golf, but in like kind of a more of a financial or business type environment. So finance was a natural. At that time, like all the clients who I was serving were all in finance. I wasn't playing any golf. They were playing all the golf. I'm like, wait a second, this isn't right, So
exactly. In that industry, you probably play 4 times a year.
Yeah, I watched it from the window every day though, of course, right? So yeah,
Exactly. So
yeah.
when did you start McCulley Financial Group?
So the crazy thing is just like this right here is the like the if you will the newspaper clip
Okay.
from when I started the business back in this would have been February of 2009. I launched the business out, and the newspaper showed up, and it was the middle of the financial crisis at that point, right? You had like that run up in '08, '09, and then I'm sorry, '07, '08, and then
Yeah.
in 2000, September 2008 is when things really started to fall apart. So this is right in the midst of it, and so what a time to start a business, right? I look back, but I'll tell you, it was actually the best time. Everybody was looking for answers, and I just like ramped up communication, ramped up customer service, did everything I could to serve
Yeah.
appropriately as quickly as I could, and there was some success that came out of it. It wasn't all rosy, certainly
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
era
Yeah.
either, by
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
So,
So how did you combat some of the tension of that era, some of the fear of that era to where you are now?
so it's like how did I counter like the objections and
Yeah.
stuff that you would catch in that, and then people the like the fear that people had. So I just oversurfaced, right? I just thought like if I met with somebody, got the answers to their info, circle back with them as quickly as possible, and
Yeah.
just spun the loop as fast as possible, I could take up service high enough that it would trump anybody else's like opportunity or whatever else that they were putting out there. And so that was my initial. I had saved up about 6 months worth of money.
There you go.
I was in month five, like I was basically running out of money, and all of a sudden, that solution, what I'm talking about, of providing service, started to click.
Yeah.
And in month six, business started coming in, and the rest is kind of history. But I was basically up against the edge of it might not work. So it wasn't
Yeah.
rosy at first. I was like, I started thinking to myself, is this going to go or not?
Yeah. It was like that for us um during COVID, right? We're in the event
Yeah,
space. I was this close to going back to working for corporate America because funds were running out. There was no events. Fortunately, I lived in Florida and things started to open up earlier. And like you said, it's been great ever since. It's like nonstop. I'm in the middle of a trip from, New York, a big event in Times Square. We got 3 events on Friday, 3 on Monday, 1 on Saturday. But that
awesome.
fear was definitely there. But I like to say Chick-fil-A level of service, what you were talking about, right? You
Mm,
ramped up that service that kind of separated you from everyone else. Even though there's not many companies that do what we do, they do pieces of what we do. Um, you still get compared, right? So what sets
yeah.
us apart is the level of professionalism that we provide. But like you said, certainly that's something that's definitely you use that from golf into financial. It makes perfect sense. I didn't even think about that, but it makes perfect sense.
But yeah, and you think about like a golf lesson, right? You're in close proximity. It's kind of an intimate experience to some degree, right? Where you're getting like this hands-on direction. And if you've got a great golf lesson, if you think of like the best golf lesson you've ever received, you think, wow, it was memorable. They paid attention to your needs. There was very like great back and forth, good bedside manners. And if you just look at it, none of it had to do with golf. It was all other skill
Yeah.
sets that really made it a success. If you look at financial services, I approach it the same way as like, well, that's just how I'm going to do this. I'm going to serve people in the way that I'd want to be served, or the way I'd want to receive the best golf lesson I've ever received. And so, yeah, that's how and I still think about it the same way. It's harder to do when you're in a group
Yeah.
environment these
Yeah.
days. Like
Yep.
if, like, say you're speaking to multiple,
Mhm.
but you do the best you can to always show up in that way. And I feel like there's some really good parallels to golf and to finance, and just the way that you're always serving people just in general. So,
Well,
yeah.
speaking of serving people, because you kind of took that into the nonprofit room, right? Champion for Cures, and I've seen that, year after year at your golf tournament. How did that come?
So it's similar in that way of like I was serving and things worked out on the finance side, right? I didn't die. I thought I was going to like totally implode as a business. I
Yeah.
survived that 6 month period. I probably should have saved up more money to launch the business,
Yeah.
but everything worked out. And then I got to a point where I thought, you know what? This is serving me, serving my family, but what am I doing to like really give back? I still had the passion for golf. I still love to serve in that way. And then we started like looking in our population and like the people amongst our friend group that, man, they were going through some really challenging stuff, like family members, friends, people were getting diagnosed with cancer. And it just felt like there was like not good solution around to help support them? Like, what were they doing to like help with, the financial stresses that come with it? Even just the sense of community and having some people to go to like have, some support and just feedback from their friends. And then what about research? What about these clinical trials, the ones that are just kind of in that valley of death that like never really get the attention they deserve in order to help serve these people. So we started recognizing it. I took the passion with golf and I put it together. We just finished year 13, as you know.
Yep.
Basically butted up against her, like ran over the $1 million mark. And so it was like, gosh, multiple times along the way, like business, I'm like, you know what? I don't know why we're doing this. This is crazy.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like you have this breakthrough moment and you go, that's exactly why we're doing it. And that's why we got to keep showing up. So
exactly.
Yeah. So I know like you and I are so focused on golf and like at the golf events, we don't get a chance to like talk business much, but when I started getting in the financial space, I recognized something that people are motivated to pursue a number. So like, hey, I want to get to $1 million. I always remember that commercial that was by ING. It had like the orange number and people are like carrying it around. It's like, hey, what's your number? And so I thought, well, that's interesting. And so as I worked with more and more people, I started to recognize that, yeah, they're pursuing a number and I watched people get there. So if somebody said, hey, they want to get to $1 million, they did, and then it was like, all right, so now what?
Yeah, exactly.
And you'd listen. And there'd be like a long pause. Nobody'd say anything. And then suddenly all these dreams would start coming up. And so what I recognize is that I think people aren't necessarily motivated by a number. They might be, but really when they get there, it's the pursuit of dreams is what they want to do. They have all these built up ambitions that they're like wanting to, once I retire, I'm going to go do this. Once I get to this point, I'm going to go do this. And my philosophy is, and the reason I created a dream number and wrote the book, Your Bigger Future, was to get people dreaming earlier. Don't wait to get to a point in your life to start pursuing things now. Why don't you do them today and start to live out your dreams on a daily basis and just make sure always making progress? When you get to retirement, sure, you can, more things maybe become more potential, but are you healthy when you get there? What does your life look like? Are your kids fully grown and up out of the house and you had all these dreams with them? It's like, how are you doing? So I just find like people like put all this stuff on hold. And so Dream Number came out of like work I was doing on the financial side, recognizing that people are actually looking for tangible, like real life experiences that are living inside of them that they wanted to like bring out and have a platform and a place to like organize them, put them together, create a community, get feedback and grow on that concept of pursuing their dreams and making progress every day.
Great. So what motivates you? You're so busy. I know you're busy.
Yeah.
And again, to chat with me today, my audience.
Yeah.
One thing.
Yeah, I think it's just like I'm motivated by service, right? Not to be like, go down the spiritual way, but I know that I was put on this earth to serve people, right? I just know that that's my calling. And so I figured it out. There's a great book that I found out years ago. It was called Unique Ability. And it's called Unique Ability, Creating the Life You Want by Dan Sullivan. It helped me understand what my unique ability is. And Dream Number is actually truly my unique ability, which is helping get people to identify what they really want in life and then get all the tools, resources collected together to help them make progress on it. And so the things that I've created are all around what I wanted from life, which was a creative an environment and a platform to serve people. And so I'm motivated by that. Like, I just love serving. I feel like when I'm at the end of the day and I'm like, I've served a whole bunch of people, I feel fulfilled. And so the charity work is hard. It is like bang your head against the wall hard. You know it because you get to see it every day with so many organizations all across the country. That stuff is not easy. And you get to the point where you're like, why are you doing it? And then as soon as you like meet a family that you're serving, they have financial turmoil. They're fighting cancer, not in a good way from a health perspective. So they've got, kind of like financial, emotional, physical, all the stresses are present. And then you jump in and you help them and you watch the witness, like their family and what they go through. And you see that like you're actually serving them and helping them. Oh man, I'm just like totally renewed every day. I'm just like, all right, I guess we're doing this all over again. And so all the businesses and all the entrepreneur pursuits I have the same makeup to them. It's service based where we're as a team in a position to serve people and we're getting feedback about how we're serving them. And it just lights us up.
That's great.
So
it's before I started recording the podcast, we talked about the reason for the podcast. And another reason, and I didn't mention, was that I want my audience to meet the people that I know, to meet the people that I've worked with for years, because it's genuine, right? These are conversations that I have. These are conversations, or these are the people that I see. And you on this podcast is the way you are every single day. right? You're great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Even if it's for a short period of time. And I want my audience to partake, and sometimes this feast that I so abundantly have throughout the country, because so many times you just, especially if you watch the news, the world is about to implode. It's things
Yeah.
are West Chicago.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, what a place, right? I love that golf course. I
Yeah,
think,
yeah,
it's been an awesome partnership. I love the work you're doing. I love to, anytime I get to spend a couple of minutes with you, sometimes on the golf course, it's only for a few
yeah.
minutes,
No,
but
no.
they're powerful every time. And it's love to see you doing, endeavors and journeys like this, because this obviously will serve people as well. And I just think that watching the way that the world is going today,
Mhm.
we need like more love, right? More
Yeah,
love and more human nature, like
yeah,
where we're
yeah,
coming together rather than like this potential like Heisman kind of like,
yeah. Exactly.
kind of push away. It's like whatever we can do to pull people together and to share goodness. I'm I'm always behind that. And I've watched you do that. You think about like back to how you and I met, right? Like we did a search, we came across your material, and I showed the group. I said,
Yeah, you
"This is our
excited.
guy." I love the work. Back to your point of like the professionalism and the way that you go about doing things. It's unique, but it's you poured out inside of the business, which is
Yeah.
really cool. And to watch that and to see it now start to like work its way all across the country is really, really cool. Got to throw some international in there too. Wait, you probably already done international at this point.
You'll know this is not
Let's
gonna
go.
but
Nice. That's cool.
the so
But
I'm sorry.
I know there's no balance for you. Like you're going to continue to
Yeah.
grow and expand throughout. So I'm excited to watch you do it too.
Well,
Yeah, so I mean, obviously we have some huge trends that are going on in the world, right? You've got like this, the speed of money is getting faster, right? You've got the digital assets, the whole cryptocurrency world. It's like going to a faster movement of money, which is huge, right? Obviously, you have the adoption of AI that's coming in, but at the same time, you got these baby boomers, right? We have this huge population that's moving towards retirement. And then you've got this like swing to independence, right? So there used to be services being provided by like the large wirehouses, the Morgan Stanleys, UPSs, and so forth. Now
yeah.
there's moving kind of a movement to independence. You can work through solutions like Fidelity, Schwab, and I think the other one is just the way that you're starting to see some consolidation, right? You're seeing like things come together and moving to more of a tech focused world, right? So
Yeah.
you have human nature, like where we're jumping in and we're creating insights and serving people, but we're doing it in a very tech savvy way. So if you look back to COVID was one of the best things
Mhm.
for our business because it allowed us to serve across the country. Back to your point of like there were some hard times there, but then there was some goodness. It made you nimble and ready to move
Right,
and do this kind of stuff where you can serve people remotely, right? And so we are doing probably 80 to 90% of our interactions and serving today is done in this environment where we're doing it via Zoom or Teams.
Mhm.
And so I think that the adoption of technology and how people have put like a higher level of trust into it, the speed of money, the boomers who are moving into an era where they're like need a ton of service. So there's a huge opportunity in serving them. And then it's the transformation down to the next generations. Like it's a huge wealth transformation that's going in motion today to serve these people. So they have like a whole bunch of needs. And then they're doing it in a place where like technology's changing. And so they're not, some of them trust it, some of them don't.
Mhm.
And there's an opportunity for as human, like from a human nature standpoint to step in and help assist them so that they feel more prepared or more at ease with the transitions in the world that's out there. But I mean, it's been an incredible market these last couple of years, like last year, this year. And so we've watched an incredible increase in the wealth across America, so we're participating in that, but it never, on the dream number piece, the last thing I'll say about this is it's never been more important for people to take time to do that stuff, right? Life is short. And I watch people who, I lived in Chicago where it was very much a rat race. You were like going so fast. And it was almost like, hey, are you taking time to do the things you love with the people you love? And I find that is more kind of centered today than it's ever been. So I find that as a huge opportunity if people are on this pursuit of growth, like, hey, I want to have this big financial success. But it's like, well, what are they doing to slow down and make sure they're spending time and doing the things they love with the people that are most important to them? We find that to be like some of the most fascinating conversations today of like, how do I take care of my family? How do I spend more time with them? How do I, create this life that I really, really want? Not just, a whole boatload of money. It's like, sure, you can check that box and then what? And I think it's expanding the conversation so they can have a greater understanding of really what they want. And I feel like there's another level to it. As soon as they check the financial freedom bucket, like I'm free. I've gotten broken free from all the challenges. Then it shifts to, well, what's their dream pursuits and what are their personal goals that they're going after? So, incredible time to be alive, incredible time to be serving people, honestly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then what?
Then what? Then what? And then what? You know, I've got to have like at least some input from Ian on this, because obviously this is where the idea was born.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Imagine that, a couple entrepreneurs getting together and coming up with an idea.
Yeah,
all right. I would love that. I would absolutely love that.
So what is one piece of advice you would give someone looking to start a business or start a nonprofit?
Yeah. So I think it's just the whole grit, right? I think it's like, as I was in preparation for our conversation today, I started thinking about like, what is like the one thing, if I didn't do it, I wouldn't be here today. It's like what worked? It's like, well, what didn't work? It's like, well, had I not like had the grit, had I not kept going, it would have been a total failure. And so like most people stop before like they break through. Like the big breakthroughs come right when grit is needed. So like, we've seen it multiple times. I saw it like on the business side, and we just saw it on the charity side. I had just transitioned from Chicago down to Florida 2 years ago, and I was like short on time. I didn't have a whole lot of help, to get the charity event pulled off. And I went to one guy who he was actually down here visiting. We were playing golf, and he said, he looked at me and he said, if I make this putt, I'm going to jump. His name's Jimmy. A little shout out to Jimmy Sloan, but he like basically saved the charity that year. And my point is that it took a little bit of grit and a little bit of just push through at some point to say like, don't stop, because if you stop, who knows what happens? It's probably there's potential failure. But if you just keep pushing, even when you just don't feel like you have got it in you, find people to leverage, find people to help you, man, that's where it's at. I mean, every entrepreneurial journey that I've been a part of, charity or profit or nonprofit, either way, it calls on grit. It calls on just like in the face of when things are like not going so great, you're like, man, this doesn't seem right. You're absolutely on the right track, and it's just keep pushing against all odds. Like keep focused on that vision you've got and just go. Just keep going. Like, what do you mean? Like, I mean, wake up early and just go like crazy again tomorrow, the next day, and eventually you'll be like, I think we got it.
Yeah.
And then you still don't slow down, right? You just keep going.
It's no secret. There's no secret to it. There's no secret to success. I was asked last week, I was planning a scramble, and the guy I was riding with asked, I was like, do you get tired? Like, how do you do it all? And I do it. I don't hit the snooze button. It excites me. So if it's something like that, and I see those guys all the time, but that excites me, right? Those conversations, remembering something from last year, or 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, that excites me. To a new client that's never experienced our service before. Like I mentioned, we were just in New York introducing golf to a bunch of women physicians, right? And how excited they were. Those things excite me. So I just get up and really I hate to say it, I just do it, right? It's that grit that you're talking about. And it's as simple as that, really.
And there's brilliance in it, right? Because think about what you did. Like you were bringing something that could be intimidating to women. Like you're bringing golf to them, and now you're making it non-intimidating. And you're like, and people probably be like, "How are you going to do that?" Like, I don't know. I'm just going to do it. We're just going to figure this out. We'll figure out the details when we get there. And obviously, that's how success happens. Now suddenly they're like, probably thanking you, like, thank you for making golf approachable. Thank you for making it easy. And so sometimes people see, the push through grit is like hard, and we probably see it somewhat as easier because it's like, well, it's the only option to do is to go, and then it turns in and creates like a great product. Like I watched you with, I watched you create with multiple organizations at this point, which is really cool.
Instructor, they do the instruction, and they do a great job at it. And kudos to them, and I'm successful because of them, as well. But I just want to again thank you for jumping on this podcast, grab coffee with me.
Well, Ian, keep serving. I love the way you do it. I enjoy all the interactions I have, and I'm proud of like you creating this and the community that you're creating. So however I can support you moving forward, I'd love to.